Every semester at Purdue University, psychology professor Jimena Arriaga watches her classroom grow tense as she introduces attachment theory. Students who recognize themselves as anxious look physically disturbed, while those identifying as avoidant often shrink back in their seats. They listen to descriptions of demanding behavior or a fear of intimacy and see their own relationships reflected back. For many, it's a moment of sudden, cold realization. I am so screwed. We've been taught to visualize attachment as a series of rigid, isolated buckets. It suggests that you are dropped into a category during infancy and locked there for life, regardless of who you meet or how you grow. Pop culture has weaponized these categories, treating them like a clinical zodiac sign determined entirely by your early caregivers. It creates the impression that your relationship style is a fixed personality trait, a blueprint you're doomed to follow forever. But viewing your attachment style as a hard-coded destiny fundamentally misunderstands how modern psychology actually works. Treating attachment like a permanent curse eliminates our belief in our own agency. To see why we aren't actually doomed, we have to investigate the mid-century experiments that accidentally created this scientific myth. The permanent blueprint theory traces back to the 1950s, when psychologists John Bowlby and Harry Harlow began investigating the nature of love through primate research. Harlow's most famous study gave baby rhesus monkeys a choice between two surrogate mothers, one made of cold wire that provided milk, and one made of soft cloth that provided nothing but comfort. The monkeys spent nearly all their time clinging to the cloth, even when they were hungry. The takeaway was monumental at the time. Children depend on their caregivers for an emotional bond that is just as crucial to survival as food. However, Harlow's more extreme studies showed a darker side. Monkeys deprived of any mother figure, real or fake, lost the ability to socialize entirely. Some grew so despondent, they simply stopped eating and died. Based on this data, Bowlby proposed that a mother's care, or her failures, formed an irreversible blueprint for all future relationships. The effects were thought to be forever. These mid-century experiments, conducted in total isolation, laid the groundwork for our modern, paralyzing belief that our early environments dictate our romantic destinies. But Harlow's later research complicated that permanent conclusion. He found that even monkeys who had been isolated for months achieved a nearly complete social recovery when they were finally placed with other monkeys. Modern researchers realized human attachment works the same way. The mother-infant bond is just one influence among a lifetime of variables, from siblings and grandparents to our very first friends. Psychologists suggest viewing attachment as a working model, a feedback loop where past interactions set expectations. The rigid buckets shatter, revealing a fluid spectrum where secure and anxious differ by decimal points. It's situational, shifting whether you're with a partner or distant friend. Attachment operates as a dynamic, real-time algorithm, constantly updating its predictions based on the reality of our current environment. Because your attachment orientation is a continuous loop, you have the power to feed it better data and reshape it over time. Most people actually grow more secure as they age. Decades of evidence that our loved ones aren't going anywhere eventually mellows out the working model, making us more comfortable in our own skin. We can accelerate this change by altering our external inputs. Deliberately spending time with people who are consistently present and reassuring provides the working model with the proof it needs to start trusting again. But there is a second, internal method for increasing security: building a sense of self-efficacy. Arriaga's research found that when people master a new, high-stakes role, like new parents learning to care for an infant, they experience a lasting shift toward security. By proving they can handle a challenge independently, they start to feel more inherently worthy, which reduces the desperate need for external validation that often fuels insecure behavior. This is the message Arriaga imparts to her worried students. When they ask if there is any hope, the answer is, of course. You cannot erase the history that originally shaped your expectations, but because attachment is a living orientation, every new connection and every personal success is a tangible opportunity to rewrite your blueprint.